This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we're always trying to go through and look at that one to see what would happen on one. Are
So
there
you
any?
did 210 times 70 to get the sales.
Hello.
Well, not the sales, but the quantity required for one.
We just said, okay, if we sold one, we're just saying if we sold one, what would happen?
Yeah, but I'm saying to get to that one, what did you do? You did the 210 times what?
Yeah, times one. One times 210, one times 70, one times 140. So yeah, we
So you did
multiplying
the,
whatever that quantity is, we're multiplying it by these items. If that answers your question. We multiplying by one.
I'm just trying to figure out how we got to that 139 number.
Oh, then we subtracted 140 from 140,000. We had revenue of 140, fixed cost of 140,000. So we
Okay, yeah, I
subtracted
follow.
140 from 140, okay?
All right.
Does that work? All right, so it's time for y'all to do the break even. It's
And break
time for you all
even.
to do the break even.
Okay, the quantity would be 1,000, and you get that by the break even formula
We
is
know
the
that the
fixed
break even,
cost divided by the contribution margin, which would be
so it
140,000.
equals parentheses fixed cost. So I'm gonna click on the fixed cost, and then I'm gonna put the slash in for the that or the five. Then I'm gonna click on the contribution margin. I'm gonna close my parentheses, and look what happened.
A zero. Let me see. I'm not on there looking. I'm doing. Let me see. Let me
Can
click
everybody
on.
see this?
Yes.
So does the 1,000 work?
Yes,
So what's 1,000 times 210?
it's gonna be
Two
two
hundred.
210,000.
210,000.
What's 70 times 1,000?
70,000.
So the contribution margin is how much?
140,000.
Fixed cost is what?
It always stays the same at 140,000.
Oh, our net income is. Are there any questions on how we did? Any question on how we got 1,000? Everybody? Yes. Okay, let's. Everybody, well, I'll see you in a few minutes. Now, let's go to the situation where the target loss is 100,000. How many have to sell so that this number is going to be a negative 100,000?
Which number?
The net income, this number here is going to be a negative 100,000. How many have to sell?
Hold on.
Which one?
Target loss 100,000.
Um, which one are we on, Professor? Target loss?
Target, yeah.
Target, target
What's
loss.
the one?
286. You have to sell 286 of
Our
them
what's our equation gonna be?
to get the 286.
Mhm.
Fixed cost minus target loss divided by SM. I mean CM.
See,
Yes.
We're gonna click
Oh,
in cost
that's 140
minus what?
minus 100,000.
140,000 minus 100,000 divided by 140.
Right. Were received and
Okay, not that formula. So we know that simply what? Take 140,000 minus what? The loss we want minus 100. And once we get that number, what will we do?
we're gonna multiply the 286 by the 210
But wait a
and
minute,
that
got to get that first. Wait a minute, we're gonna divide what? 140.
140.
And if we divided it by 140,
oh
how much would it be?
286.
286. So let's begin our multiplying by 286. See what happens. 286 times 210 is how much? What's
18,060.
286?
it's gonna be
How much?
60,000. You said it's supposed to be 286 times 210, right?
210.
60,060.
Right.
And that gives us $60,060. Yeah, $60,060.
What's our variable cost going to be?
20,000.
20,000
20,000.
$20.
20,000 what?
$20.
$20.
Okay. What's our contribution margin?
40,000.
40,000
20,000.
40,000. Okay, so it's 40,000.
$40.
$20.
40.
Oh yeah, $40.
It's 40.
It is
The fixed
40.
costs are once again 140,000. And so 40 minus 140, the actual number, it won't be exactly 100,000, but it's going to be what? 99,060?
Which one? Yeah,
Actually,
it's
no,
90, it's 99,960.
as long as we're within $100 of our target, we okay. All right, you all work this final one where you're making $1 million.
Wait, where that
Everybody work that.
99,000 come from?
Where the what?
The 99,000. What is there?
We subtracted the contribution margin was 40,000 on. We subtracted it from the fixed cost of 140,000, and we got 99,960. We had to do some rounding, but that's close to the 100,000 we wanted. Okay?
Are we supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Professor Boyd,
So the answer would be
is it
99,960.
okay?
It's close to 100,000, so that's fine. Is it okay if what?
So when I did it, I did the exact number with the decimal places and everything, and I got to 100,000. Is that okay?
That's okay too. But
Okay.
you know, you can't sell a part of a product, so it's going to be best if you round to a whole number. Got it?
Okay, I got it.
So round to the whole number because we have to use these numbers elsewhere. What about the $1,000,000 one? How many do we have to sell to make $1,000,000?
Eight thousand one hundred
8,143.
and forty-three dollars. I mean 8,143.
8,000,
143.
and we simply did what? Took 140,000.
Plus 1,000,000
One
divided by
million
140.
140.
I got a decimal when I did that, Professor Boyd. I got
Yeah,
8.14.
You gotta turn it into a whole number.
You have to turn it into a whole number to the roundest to the nearest next number.
Okay, so I removed that. I removed that decimal and just put a comma.
yeah, 8143 is your quantity. So all we're saying
Okay.
is you got to sell a whole item. So just round to the, if we close to it, if we're within $100, we're okay. So what our sales,
1,710,030.
million seven oh, comma, 030. What's our variable cost going to be?
$570,010.
570, comma, 0. What's our contribution margin going to be?
1,140,020.
1,140,000 and what?
$20.
$20. Fixed cost is still 140. And so we're supposed to be at 1,000,000. We're actually at what? 1,020,000. Any questions? So what we're going to do with this? What are we going to do with this? You are making projects which you should be in the process of making. So you are making projects, and you're going to do 3 budget years. One where you lose 100,000, one where you break even, and one where you have operating profit. So that's why we work through this. Okay? That's why we work through this, because you got to do this with your project. You got to make those same calculations and do the same thing that you did here. You got to do that with your project.
So will
Got
we
it?
provide our own numbers for like the direct labor and
Yep.
you got a Carlton Perkins in here, Dr. Bob?
Do I have
Carlton
what?
Perkins.
What about
You got
them?
a delivery up here.
Tell them to come in and deliver.
Professor Boyd.
I knew it had a catch to this stuff.
That's for you. I don't know who's selling it. If you look in that card, it probably got something in that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. You are.
Yeah, now if I just had my wine to go with this, see, some people, they just tell me they're going to do something, they don't do it.
Professor Boyd, I have a question.
Yes.
So I know I said like
What's your question?
I did the exact numbers like with the decimal places. Will I get points taken off for that?
No.
Okay. I know how to do it the correct way now. I was just saying like for the sake of this assignment.
I'm wondering if this is mine now. I think this goes across the hall. Right? So that's not mine. This is, I thought it said Carlton Perkins delivered this.
No, that's for him. I was trying to ask you, do we have to come up with like for raw materials, direct labor, manufacturing?
Of course, because you made this product. You make you know the raw materials, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how we're gonna do that. So you'll have this for me on Tuesday. Let me go back in here.
Professor Boyd, can I ask a question in
Courses.
reference to the project?
Sure.
So in terms of fixed costs, can we just make up stuff like if we have like we have a manufacturing like a building where we manufacture these products and the fixed cost in terms of
Mhm.
leasing is certain amount of dollars a year?
Just go with rent rather than buying a building, because most times
Okay,
people rent a building.
okay. Because $1 million is a lot.
When the project due?
I guess at the date of the final, unless you get it due finish earlier. Let me see what I'm looking at. Assignments.
It's coming up pretty quick now.
That means y'all gonna have to work very hard.
Wait, when the due date is again?
Professor, can I email the Excel worksheet to you? Because
What
I'm working
Excel
on Word.
worksheet now? What Excel worksheet? My email doesn't work that well. Try to get it in Blackboard.
Okay,
Okay?
because I submitted the homework on Word, not Excel.
Well, if you did it right, that's fine. I won't worry about it this time, but from now on we in Excel. Okay, this is step 2 of the
Okay.
project. Let me
Professor Boyd,
uh-huh.
there was one more that I wanted to look at, the one where we had the salary included. I wasn't for sure how to do that, so I wanted to make sure I did it right. It was part of it, the homework. I'm
But what
sorry.
would you do
Yeah, and
with
I
it?
didn't. Yeah, I
I
didn't
would just,
finish it. I didn't finish
Hey,
the last part because I didn't really wasn't sure how to do it. So
I
I
did
turned
it,
it
but I
in.
wasn't for sure if it was right.
so what did you
Yeah, I
do?
turned it in.
I added the total fixed cost, and I added the $50,000 salary, and I divided it by 140. So I divided
That's what
190,000 by 140,
That's right.
and it came up with 1,358 for sales
I'm
to break
yeah.
even. I guess I don't know.
That was
I'll go
right.
back to that in a second, but let me go and see if I can get this template to you all. So I need to go. Let me go to assignments. Assessment and assignment. Project part 2. Well, remember we meet at 6 o'clock now, so we got all of this extra time. So I guess you all forgot that about that. Y'all forgot about that?
No.
So
No.
26, it'll be. I'll give y'all a midnight to get it in that day. 5 points.
Dr. Boyd, could you let me resubmit mine? I submitted the wrong assignment. And I emailed you about it too, by the way, but I would appreciate it if I could resubmit it.
You're not
We
here
have
on campus, so I don't know if I'll let you resubmit or not.
You said what?
You're not here on campus.
You want me to come to campus? I'll come run to you,
Uh,
but class might be over.
I'm just joking a little bit. Okay, so that should be in there now. So let's go back to this problem and let's add a column in here. Look at what we would do. Wait, I need to do that. I think we are comparing this to the break even, but we hired somebody for how much? Well,
Yeah,
first of
you
all,
hired
none
him
of this
for
changed.
50. You
No,
hired
I
him.
think it was 50,000
I feel.
Yeah.
accounting, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was 50,000.
So none of this changes, but now you have what? A new fixed cost. So you have these two items. You have a fixed cost, another cost of 50,000.
Wait, what is coming from?
That's one of the
Unavailable.
assumptions in there that when you look at the problem, this
Uh,
is just there, 18.
Oh yeah, I did it right because I didn't put all that stuff all the way across. Professor Boyd, am I going
Okay.
to be penalized if I
There,
didn't?
no, no. So let's auto sum this. Yeah, I must take off a lot of stuff. Do I take off a lot?
I'm just trying to see because some of this stuff I didn't write that all the way across, like like the paper and the ink and all that. I just I didn't
Uh,
do all, I didn't do all that. I did. I
so
finished.
right now, okay, don't worry about it. The
Okay.
question is, if you hired an accountant for 50,000 because you didn't want to do all this work, how much would what's your quantity going to be now to break even? So
One
that's the
thousand
question.
three hundred. $1,357.
$58.
57.
All right, I'll take your word for it. So what this is showing is this: if you hire a person to take care of your accounting for $50,000, you got to sell 358 more units at two. So do we understand that now in terms of what was trying to be showed to you? If you
Yep.
add costs, you got to sell more to cover. Got it?
Mm.
Mm-mm.
Sell 350 more. Why?
I still don't know where this came from.
Did you read the whole problem?
I must have didn't,
That's
cause
that
I ain't see
problem.
all this. Yeah, Professor Boyd,
Everybody
that's
else saw.
another thing I noticed. I
You
know
see right
you
here? You
upload.
see right here? Break even, find an account for 50,000. There it is, right.
Oh, I missed
All
that
right.
one.
All right.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I just used the chart that we had got in tutoring. I ain't
Yeah,
really.
that's the one I used, Professor Boyd. So I didn't even do those. I used the one you gave in
Yeah, me
tutorials.
neither. I ain't used that chart.
All right. Okay. Hopefully you got this done. Now let's look at this template that you got to do. And as we work on this template, okay, your selling price, you're going to have a multiple, but it's only going to be a multiple of the product cost, labor and overhead. Okay. So let's assume we did our raw materials, we did our labor, and it turned out to be, uh, what is a good number? I'll make it $50. So suppose all of those costs were $50. And if we had a selling price multiple of 4, then what would our selling price be?
Would it
If
be
it's
200?
200. Okay. So this is the first thing you got to do. Then you're going to have a bad debt expense of 10% of the selling price. That's going to be 20.
This is in Blackboard.
Yep. Just put it there on the assignments. And then your selling expense is going to be 20%, 40. Okay. So your variable costs now are always going to be raw materials and labor, which I estimate to do 50. Well, you got to buy your raw materials, make the item, have a pay rate, and come up with this number. The bad debt is 20, selling expense 40. So now your total variable cost,
What's the name for it?
so your total variable cost now will be 110. So you must have 4 items of variable cost: raw materials, labor, bad debt, selling expense. Does everybody see that? So you got to create your own selling price multiple. These are your numbers. You got to buy
That's
the
the numbers we,
items.
that's the numbers
Say
we have
what?
to use? Is that the numbers we have to
No,
use?
no,
Oh,
this is an
okay.
example. I'm just
On
giving
how
you
we
an
set it
example.
up. Okay.
Right. You have to buy your raw materials and you'd have a cost. Make them whole numbers. Don't use any decimals, but just make it a whole number. Then for your labor, make sure you got a whole number. If you can make 10 an hour, make your labor rate 20. So you divide 20 by 10 and get. If it takes you 2 hours to make them, make your labor rate 10 was 20. So you're working with whole dollars. Okay? Got it? Any questions? Let's go to fixed costs. You may need some manufacturing overhead equipment. Let's say your equipment for your company turns out to be 200. Manufacturing and for administrative, it's 100,000. So your total of equipment would be 300,000. Okay. So you would buy that equipment with a note and you'd pay interest on the note. So your interest would be 30,000. Okay. So you got to look at the equipment you need to make it. Remember, you got to make $1 million. So you're going to have a lot of equipment, a lot of workers at some point. Your depreciation is straight line 5 year. So we just divide 5 into 20,000 and we get 40,000. We divide 5 into the administrative expense and we get 20,000 depreciation. Okay. You can keep the fixed cost the same each year. Just keep it the same each year. Now, we're going to go through and do these fixed costs. And let's just say the manufacturing overhead fixed costs are 270,000. 40,000 of that depreciation comes in here. The other costs, you'll be creating those. And I'm just saying the depreciation comes from there. And this is going to be the same for years. So now we got interest expense of 30, manufacturing over 270. Now we got to do the administrative expense. And let's assume the total administrative expenses are 100,000. I'm just putting some things in to show you how you do it. For that 120 of it must be that depreciation you calculated above. And then you have the president, fringe benefits, you normally paying 25% of fringes. But so this is the schedule you're going to make to come up with your costs. So basis, we got interest expense of 30,000. That's a fixed cost. Then the manufacturing overhead was 270. And we said the administrative expense was 100,000. So what is our total? What is our total overhead, fixed cost, excuse me? Our total fixed cost.
Is it 400,000?
Yep, that looks like 400,000. So this is the procedure you got to buy that. You got to buy and make the stuff and tell me what these costs are. These are all your numbers. So when in this little example, we said that the variable cost, labor and raw materials is 50. Our selling price multiple was 4. And so that made the selling 200. Then we had to come back and make bad debt 10% of the selling price. Selling expense 20% of the selling price, 40. Contribution margin is going to be what? What is our contribution margin?
Contribution margin. You have to use those formulas.
Not really. What is our contribution margin? I'll just do to get a contribution margin.
Okay, so you take that fixed cost, you have to times it times the
Can you
amount.
calculate a contribution margin?
Contribution margin, yes, you have to Let me look at my
And
notes.
what is the contribution margin?
What is it again?
Jasmine, what's the contribution?
Selling price minus
Weatherspoon, what's say
selling price
what?
minus variable
How much?
cost.
So how much was this?
But I forgot what it was.
10 subtracted from 200 is how much? How much is that? 90?
Yeah.
So this is what you're going to be doing with your project. Selling price, that's all your variable costs, gives us a unit contribution margin. Then you're going to get all your fixed costs together as we did here. And then the next thing you're going to do is fill out this chart here. And you don't have to worry about target income of 2 million. But you now, I want you to get the quantities, sale of one book. You should be able to get that one easy. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
But now get me the quantities on these others. If these were your numbers, tell me what your quantities would be.
So for the project, our target income is $1 million, you said, right?
You got three: target loss of 100, break even, target income of 1 million.
Okay, so it's this right here. And then what is this target income of 1 million, then the target income of 2 million?
Ignore the 2 million. Ignore that one.
In
Give
order
you a
two
break.
million? Okay.
Ignore the 2 million.
Okay. So we just have those four right there.
Right? Just
Okay.
like you, just like you just practiced well. So you've got
Okay.
to complete this for your project to indicate how many you got to make each year, putting your cost in. Do we understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it only took us 15 or 20 minutes. So I'm assuming by next Tuesday you can have this filled out.
So,
Remember,
Professor,
fixed costs is going to be the same every year.
you have
Yes.
this template on there on the homework.
Yes.
This template right
It's
here.
with assignment. Yep. Go
Okay.
to assignments.
Okay.
So you want us to have it done by Tuesday?
Yeah. How long would this took us 15 minutes to do this one?
Yeah.
If you bought the raw materials for your product and you kind of made it, you can fill the stuff in. How much did your raw materials cost? You'd have them bought by now. How long is it going to take to make it? Can they make 10 an hour? If you have small price items, you're going to have a very high price unless they can make more than one an hour. Then you're using a standard 10% for a bad debts and 20% for selling expense. You'll be selling everything on credit. Any questions? So this is something you should be able to complete by tomorrow. They're real.
Is you gonna upload this recording
Just
today?
saying.
Yeah.
Yes, I will upload it when I get home. It takes a while, a little while for it to recopy, but I will have it uploaded. So what you're doing is, because we're going over more in 1 year, but it's the same thing we've been doing. You just, you put in the cost you think you're gonna have in your company. So these your costs, your raw materials based on what you make it. Everybody's sent me something that they were making. Okay, buy the raw materials and make it, and fill this chart out. And then at the end of the day, what you're trying to tell me is you're trying to chart we just did. The same thing you just did.
So we gotta find the utility and all that too.
Yeah, estimated. Yeah, you put it the cost you think you're gonna need. Yeah, so you can always Google. Okay, what does a production manager make for what item I'm making? What are the normal profit? What's the, and they'll give you ranges and stuff. Then you put that in. Assume you're in Houston. How much does it cost to rent a building in Houston? Well, if you got to produce enough to make $1 million, you have to get to one of those warehouses on the interstate. And you see all these warehouses on the interstate? That's what they rent space out for people to run companies and make stuff. Got it? So you can Google what the rent is for your space. Any other questions? Any other questions? So this should not take long. The product, that shouldn't take that long. You got to do some marketing for the product too. Do me an Amazon ad. So you got a marketing person on there. Assume you're selling on Amazon. Do me an Amazon ad. Got it? I don't know if I got a logo on this or not. Here, look at that. So this should be something on management. Group members, then project assumptions. Any questions on what you got to do?
So this the last part of the project? Like this whole thing up into management?
Set
Like this the rest of the project, like this it after the management slide at the bottom.
done so. Let's look at the rest of. Let's look at what else. There's a management process because a lot of times we're selling an item. You gotta have to make sure you got cash. A lot of times when we sell items, we don't sell them to the end of the year, but you got to pay expenses all the time. We might not sell them at the end of the year, but you got to pay all the time. So let's see if I
I knew it was a catch.
can. Y'all wouldn't have been doing anything if that was the case. Okay, let me see if I can. Where is insert a table? This thing is acting up today. Uh, all right, let's see if I can insert a table now. So I want to insert a table. 5 columns would be good, and that's just maybe 10 rows. You see how this thing is acting? Boy, if I try to insert it up here,
Wait, what this right here for? This assignment?
it should be in course content. You haven't been checking on everything in course content?
Mm.
Let's see, let me see if I can try to insert this table one more time. Still doesn't do quite what I want, but it's better. Okay, so let's assume that we've got to cut the selling items 20, 10, 10, and 20. So on the top of the quarters, and we have quarters 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, and 4. And what happens in most businesses when we have the sales in the last part of the year. So here it was 20, 10, 10, and 160. So we're assuming the sales are 20,000 in the first quarter and 10,000, then 10,000 again, then finally 160,000. And so this company is operating, and that's what the sales are going to be. Its selling price is 50 and its cost is 20. Its selling price is 50, its cost is 20. It's in the mall and has to pay rent. So it's paying this rent of $1 million a quarter. So I don't care how much is sold, they got to pay $1 million a quarter. So these are the sales. We sell them for how much? $50. They're costing how much? 20. And let's assume that we got 100,000 in the bank at the start of the period. So these are our sales. That's what we're selling. The selling price, we said, was what? They selling these things for how much? $50 each. So you're selling these for 50, these for 50, these for 50, these for 50 also. So let's look at this first quarter. What's total sales going to be in the first quarter? 50 times 20,000, that's going to be what? $1 million? Now, how much is that going to be? 50 times 20,000.
1 million.
That's a million.
Okay. Okay. So we got $1 million. We had our cash on hand that we started with was 100,000. So the cash we have available is 1,100,000. Okay, what do we have to pay? What do our disbursements need to be?
My bad, but is this on Blackboard?
If we sell 1,000 books, we got to buy them for $20 each. So the cost of the books is going to be $20 each, correct? So our books are going to cost us 400,000. 20 times 20,000, 400,000. Then we got to pay our rent, and we said our rent was how much? $1 a quarter, right? So total disbursement is going to be $1,400,000. But how much money we got? If we look at the excess cash, we down, we down 300,000, right? We don't have enough cash to run our business because we don't have enough sales. Yeah. So we need to set up a way to borrow. Okay. And you got to set this up ahead of time. And so you go to the bank and say, okay, in the first quarter, right at the end, but in this first quarter, I need to borrow 400,000 so I can keep my 100,000. If you're running a business, you have to keep a minimum in the bank. So cash at the end of the period. So if you want your business to be successful, you would do this on a monthly basis. We do it on a quarterly basis, but you're going to go in there and look at how your costs are looking and everything. And if you have quarters where you're going to be short, so that your stuff won't be thrown out in the street, you borrow money. So we borrowed 400, so we still got a 100,000 because we went to the bank. And we're gonna do this for the whole year. So we go to the second quarter and we only sell 10,000. So we're only gonna have 500,000, correct? We had that cash on hand of 100,000. So our cash available is 600,000. The cost of the books is going to be 20 at 10,000, so it's 200,000. Our rent is still $1,000,000. It's just like the rent you pay. So 1,000,000. So now, In the second quarter, we're 600,000 down. So we got to go and borrow. We want this 100,000. So how much money we got to borrow now? Maybe 700,000. Let's go to the next quarter. We're only selling 10,000 again. So we can just copy these numbers. It's all going to be the same. And then these costs are all going to be the same too. And so once again, we down 600,000. We borrowing 700,000 again. We got 100,000. And then finally the fourth quarter comes and everybody gets excited. Okay, the fourth quarter comes and they start running out and buying our books. So how many are we selling in the fourth quarter? 160,000. How much money is that?
8 million.
Hmm?
8 million.
I'll take your word for it. 8 million. Had our 100,000. So our cash available is 8,100,000. What's the cost of these books going to be? 160,000 times 160 is what?
You said 160,000 times what?
20. Is
3,200,000.
that going to be 3,200,000? Rent is still a million.
Wait, why you did that
Oh,
times two?
times what? 20? Because
Yeah.
that's the cost of the books. That's the cost of the books. So we have 4,200,000 as our cost. So how much? What's our excess? That's some money, right? How much money we got? 3,900,000. And then we're gonna pay back our loans.
How did you get the excess?
So subtract the 42 from 8,000,001. Is that 3,000,009? And eight
You
million one available.
8 million.
We had 8,000,001 available. Our disbursement in the fourth quarter only 4,200,000. So now we got some money.
Okay, I see now.
We're gonna pay back. We're gonna pay back our loans. So 700. So that's million four. So our cash at the end of the period is gonna be what? How much cash we got left now?
4 million. Oh, okay.
2
Mm.
million, what, 100,000? Is that right? But you'll never get to this point if you didn't have this borrowing. And you got to do this before the year. Once you get into the year, the bank's not going to loan you the money. So you prepare this chart showing the bank where you're going to be. You prepare this chart showing the bank that you're going to be able to back in the fourth quarter. And the bank at an appropriate interest rate will loan you. Okay? So we made money, right? We made money, but we would never be able to get to this point if we hadn't done this budget and took care of the short months. You're going to be looking at it on a quarterly basis in year 1, 2, and 3. Do I need to borrow money? I need to borrow money in year 1, year 2, or 3. So you're going to prepare a statement like this, okay?
I still don't know what a
Except because you're not,
3.2 million
you still don't know what?
how you get the 3.2 million.
What's dollars times 160,000?
But where did the 20 come from?
That was the assumption of what you were paying for the books. The
Uh,
books cost you $20 each. We've been multiplying by 20 the whole time. So you're selling at 20 and the books cost, you're selling at 50, the books cost you 20, and that's your variable cost. And you got a fixed rent of $1 million. So you all talking about going out and renting places. So you can see, okay, I need to see if my sales are like this. See, your sales not going to be all at once. They're going to be certain amounts each quarter. So you'll eventually be making an assumption about how many you're selling each quarter and whether you need to borrow money or not. All right. So we'll go back over this next time. You know, the main thing you need to do is to get this template complete with your cost in it and this done. So have this done to do on Tuesday, but these are the assumptions. And eventually you'll have to see whether you need to borrow money because everything you're going to do is going, okay, you see, you got these sales here, the quantity, but we have to break these quantities down by what quarter the sale occurs in. These are the quantities, but what quarter did the sale occur in? Okay. Okay. So we see where we're going to be going now. Remember, y'all got 6 and 7 people on each team. So y'all should be able to knock this out. You got to knock it out. So I will head home and get this recording put up as soon as possible. And then next week, we'll work an in-class problem, which will be just like your project. Then the last week of class, all we're going to do is work on your project. So next week, we work a problem that shows us what we need to do. Then the week after that, you simply work on your problem, work on your numbers. Got it? Good. So as we work on finishing up, coming to the end. Well, you all have a pleasant weekend. Spend a lot of time studying managerial accounting and working on your assumptions and knowing how to calculate target loss, break even, and target income. And we will see you all on Tuesday. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, sir.
So no
Bye.
tutoring
Have a
on
good.
Monday, right, Dr. Boyd? We don't need tutoring Monday, right?
Yes, up up to you all. Email me if you want it.
Okay. Well, I want it, so I'll see you Monday.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We'll see you on
I'll
Monday.
see your email.
All right.